everyone, Kay Bergner here today with Dr. Tom Phelan, author and creator of 123 Magic and the author of The Manager Mom Epidemic. Dr. Phelan, welcome.
Good morning, Kay. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, and you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Good, glad to hear it. So today we are talking about kids' misbehavior and how that can impact mom's mental health. So I think let's go ahead and just start with Dr. Phelan. How does kids' misbehavior impact mom's mental health?
Well, it can have a big impact. The research traditionally has looked at moms who are depressed and how they impact their kids' behavior. And they find, well, if mom's depressed, there's more of a chance for the kids to be acting up and acting out and so on. But if you turn the thing around and look at it the other way, how does kids' misbehavior affect mom? We have a very high incidence of maternal depression in moms, especially stay-at-home moms, especially moms with kids under age 3, and so on. So this is a big issue for lots and lots of millions and millions of moms every year get what we call major depression, and it's in large part due to the family situation.
Absolutely. And I know, most moms are aware that postpartum depression exists, even though it's still a concern that a lot of moms are not being appropriately treated for that. But I don't know if there's as much conversation about sort of the depression that women can experience when their children are under 3. So what are some of the ways that might show up in day-to-day life?
Well, one of them, if you are feeling depressed, or there's another thing called dysthymia, which is sort of a mild depression, what you will feel, your self-esteem will drop. You won't think much of yourself. You tend to think, I'm not lovable to my spouse, partner, or kids, or whatever. You can have problems with sleep, sometimes too much sleep, sometimes not enough sleep. If you're working full time, of course, that's going to be a problem with that. Weight changes can go along with it. General mood, feeling of life isn't worth living some of the time, I'm not a good person, and those kinds of things. So it's like a cloud living in your brain. But a lot of moms too, they don't hook it up with, they just think, well, kids are kids, and my husband's my husband, and I'm doing all this stuff. That's what I should be doing. So they don't see the connection between the two, but it's a bummer, and it's a very downcast kind of life for a lot of mothers.
Yeah, and I noticed you said the bad S word, should. There's a lot of things that moms think that we should be doing or should be feeling or shouldn't be feeling. You mentioned that studies have shown that when mom is depressed, the kids might act up more. You've also just indicated when the kids are acting up more, mom might be more depressed. Like that sounds like a really rough cycle to be in. What can mom do to really sort of be an advocate for her own mental health here? Certainly if you think you are depressed, you should seek the advice and treatment of a professional. But what can mom be doing at home in terms of kids' misbehavior to sort of help improve that situation and perhaps have a positive impact on her own mental state as well?
Yeah, well, the first thing to do is to make the connection, is the awareness of, oh, gee, maybe this situation. And when I was a senior in high school, I wanted to get married and have a family. I thought that was the greatest thing in the world. Now I've got it. It's not the greatest thing in the world, and something is wrong. But it's okay. That's okay. It's not me. I'm not a uniquely horrible person. And then it's like, where do I start? And there are a couple of places you can start. One is what they call cognitive behavioral therapy, and another is a parenting program. The cognitive behavioral therapy will help you deal with some of the thinking that goes along with depression. I'm no good, nobody loves me, my life is a waste, and all that. Okay, are those really true? If you have a friendly therapist kind of holding your hand and slapping you in the face at the same time, is it really true nobody loves you? Is it really true your life is a waste? We're going to go through that. But we're also, and a lot of therapists are good at doing this, therapists going to help mom find a way of dealing with the kids. What are the biggest problems with the kids? Well, sibling rivalry and bedtime. What do you do about those? Well, I yell a lot when the time comes up. Well, that's not a good strategy. We need a better strategy for that. So 2 good places to start: cognitive behavioral therapy and a good parenting program.
Yeah, absolutely. And, obviously the parenting program that we here recommend is 1-2-3 Magic.
We're not prejudiced at all. You know.
But no, not at all. We definitely not biased. But I do think, as a parent myself, with younger children, it can be so frustrating when the children are not listening. And when you get to bedtime, whether you are a stay-at-home parent who has been with your kids all day and now bedtime is a battle trying to get them there, or whether you've worked all day and come home and made dinner and then put the kids in bed and bedtime is a battle, like either way, you can really kind of end what sort of seems like it should feel like this wonderful, quiet time of connection, just feeling exhausted and drained if you have to fight through every step. So just having a plan, having a way to sort of create a routine to deal with bad behavior, but just knowing what you're going to do so you don't have to make another decision spontaneously and in the moment can be so helpful.
That's exactly right. And the other thing very much tied into what you're saying is if you don't have a plan, you're going to talk. And if you talk, you're going to go through talk, persuade, argue, yell, and sometimes hit. And it doesn't work. So having a plan and trying it out is absolutely essential.
Absolutely. And so this kind of brings me to a person, a topic that we have not yet discussed in this conversation. The person who has been missing from this conversation is dad, or is mom's partner, if you will. Obviously, not all families are the what is thought of as the traditional family of mom, dad, and kids. But for the purposes of this conversation, we will talk about that second parental figure as dad. So Dr. Phelan, I know that next week you're going to be doing a new format of free seminar that's going to be an 8-minute parenting tip. So very quick, fast, actionable items to talk about a specific parenting topic. And what you're talking about next week is dads are stepping up, or are they? Which it feels like kind of a clickbaity headline, right? But have dads in general, have dads stepped up in terms of creating a more equitable environment at home in recent years? And if so, what has that looked like?
I think they have stepped up to some extent and maybe several reasons they've backed into the job. One is a lot more of them are unemployed, more of them are working from home, and so on. So they're there to be able to do these things.
Due to the pandemic?
Due to the pandemic, that's right. That's right. And so they are there. So I think there's more going on that way. I think one of the problems is the stepping up has been relatively minor or relatively small in terms of what we're talking about here are primary child care. It's taking care of the kids, right on the spot. And we're also talking about household jobs or household activities like laundry, cleaning up the kitchen, getting the kids to bed, doing homework with the kids and that kind of thing. So those are the things where I think dads are doing a little bit more, but still it's almost a 2-to-1 ratio in terms of the number of hours that moms are doing in relation to dads. And and that's okay if mom's not working, but if mom's working full time, we got a big problem here.
Absolutely. And I think, one of the things that you and I have discussed in the past is that dads are doing more. But when is it that they're doing more?
The dads, no, I don't want to make any dads angry out there, but we dads are doing more when our wives remind us to do more. So what this contributes to is what some people have called, as you know, Kay, the emotional labor for the mom. The emotional labor means I'm worried about getting all this stuff done. And so if dad has to be reminded, mom's emotional labor does not go away. If dad doesn't have to be reminded in what I call a complete responsibility transfer, mom's emotional labor goes away. And that's the ultimate goal.
Absolutely. And there are a lot of complex reasons why that is the case, right? From sort of societal conditioning and the way that we were raised and the way that they were raised, and, sort of whatever the dynamic of your family looks like, whatever the work situation of your family looks like, whether you're married, not married, who works full-time, who works part-time, who's stay-at-home parent, like there's a lot of factors that can go into that. But if you are a mom, or if you're a dad who's feeling this way, also relevant to you. We're just using moms as the general term here. If you're a mom who feels like you would like to have a a more equitable division of labor and childcare at home, but you're not really sure how to start that conversation with your partner. Dr. Phelan's 8-minute parenting tip next week on Tuesday is going to be really helpful. We'll give some perfect action items for how do you start that conversation? What are the next steps that you take? What are the things that you need to think about just for yourself? It's not even an action item, but it's really a mindset that you have to have as well. So get registered for that. We'll post the link to the Facebook page. We're going to send it out in our email newsletter. So head on over to 123magic.com and sign up for that if you're not already. The other thing that Dr. Phelan is doing next week is next Thursday, he's going to do a full free seminar on kids' misbehavior and maternal depression. So how that happens, what the factors are, and what you as a mom can do to either prevent that if you feel like things are starting to slide that way, or to start to help yourself and get yourself out of that if you feel like it's a place where you are right now. Obviously, if you're a professional who are supporting parents, this is going to be really helpful for you as well. I know that was a lot of housekeeping. Thank you for bearing with us. And thank you, Dr. Phelan. I think this is a topic that a lot of moms feel guilty talking about. We don't always do a great job of advocating for our own mental health, and we think that we should be able to just handle these things on our own. And, oh, I'm just tired, right? Oh, I just have a lot to do. I'm just busy. And that's not always the case. So I think that, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk about this and giving us the reminder and the opportunity to maybe step back and evaluate and think about, is it really that I need to get more sleep, or is there something else going on?
It'll be very much what to do oriented, as you said, that's for sure.
Perfect. Terrific. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Phelan. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.